give another minute. Oh, somebody from Germany. Hello.
Hi, Germany.
These things are so cool. There's people all over the place. There's been different people tuning in for each of them. I've been getting a lot of different music recommendations from people throughout this, so that's been cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. I mean, Aaron's always good at that. He's always spreading the word about new stuff that he finds, and so I enjoyed that conversation. I mean, I like the whole thing, but that was a particularly enlightening portion.
Yeah.
Ideas of new places to go.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. Why don't we go ahead and get started? I've been having everybody kick off the conversation by telling me who you are, where you are right now, and maybe something about how we know each other.
Okay. Well, I'm Brian Wright. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now, and I'm outside in my little studio. And we know each other we know each other a couple of different ways. I think I first met you through Cable House. I was playing with Aaron, and I met you there. But I'm not sure if we found out before or after that we have a great mutual friend in Al Scrow. And so,
we do.
And so that, any friend of Al's is a friend of mine.
Oh, and right on cue, he popped into the.
He's always on.
We're just talking about you, Al.
Always
on. Welcome. I'm going to be talking. Excuse me. I'm going to be talking to Al at 5 o'clock Eastern time. We gave him the last time slot since he is the furthest time zone away of everybody I've talked to today. This is a whole list of people who have either crashed at my house, been guests in my home. Crashed sort of maybe has a negative connotation. People who I've served tacos to at 3 a.m.
Oh, yes. I've been one of those.
Yeah, and people who have played Cable House. That we've been lucky enough to have you play Cable House Presents twice, but you've played in York some other times too, I think.
I think that's true. It's difficult for me to remember sometimes, but I definitely have. What's that little? There's that little kind of honky tonk place around.
Oh, the Holy Hound.
Yes, I've played that one, and I came to that open mic thing that you guys host.
Oh man.
And then I played Cable House. Can you remind me? Are you aware of another place that I played? I forget.
I don't think you played Sign of the Wagon, actually, but I know that you've been here. A lot of musicians will come through since York, Pennsylvania. For those of you who are elsewhere in the country, we're right on the way to everything on Mid-Atlantic touring routes. So there are a lot of musicians that will come through here, be really well taken care of, and then they plan days off in York even when they don't have a show here, so we get to hang out.
Sorry.
That's okay. I was just saying that I think maybe you've been in York a couple times, at least once, even when you didn't necessarily have a show. But I do want to say, in regard to Holy Hound, that open mic, one of my favorite games to play is what I call open mic ringer, where I will go to a local open mic in one of our smaller bars and take some of my professional musician friends and put their name on the board, and then watch the whole bar kind of like turn around, like what is happening right now. It's really fun, and I know it's been really inspiring for some of the local guys that are signed up for those open mics too, to hear you play.
Well, I think it's inspiring to go to those things a lot of times. I mean, that's certainly the way I learned how to play music in front of people anyway, was going to a lot of those things. And so I still like to go, when you get a chance.
Yeah. I want to ask you before we get too deep into the music conversation, how it's going down there. I know you got 2 little ones. How's it going now that everybody's stuck in the house?
Well, I think it's going best case scenario considering the circumstances. We're all healthy and we're all happy, and certainly we're on top of one another, but we're trying to find fun ways to pass the time with the kids in particularly. My son takes drum lessons, and so we've been, I took an amp in the house and just started jamming with him more, and Sally learned to play songs on the bass, so now we've got a little family band happening.
Look at that.
Packets for after this, and it's pretty great. Our first song is About a Girl by Nirvana.
Huh. That's amazing.
Pretty great.
Listen, when the kids start writing some original tunes too, I'll book you guys up here. You can all come up.
Sounds great. Well, Eli's got a couple of jams that he's been working on, and we've been working on together. He's got a Halloween one called The Wolf Man that's pretty good. It's pretty fantastic.
Excellent. That's great. I've been asking people what they're listening to. Is there something in particular that you like, that Sally likes, that the kids like? What's playing in your house when you're not playing yourselves?
Well, I think lately I've been listening to a lot of music that I've been working on, but I mean, aside from that, I've been listening to, like, I don't know, a lot of, like, it's pretty good variety of it. This morning I was listening to Shuggy Otis and Mayfield. Nice. I've been listening to a lot of stuff like that, a lot of the funkier stuff, just because I like it, because it makes me dance and feel good, and and I'm working, a lot of the music I'm working on, I'm trying to make more fun, more danceable, and so just get a lot of inspiration from those things.
Talk to us a little bit about the music you're working on.
Well, I've been working. Sally and I have a band called Number One Knife, this side project that we did a record for that we were pretty close to finish before all this happened. It's just sort of waiting to be mastered now. And then I've been working on a Ladies Gun Club record. It's really shaping up to be. It's so cool every day. It's like, I don't know, I'm more excited about it. It's just really, it's really beautiful and really tough and powerful and just so good. I can't wait to be finished with it so people can hear it.
Wonderful. We just had the Minks here that I knew about because of you, and boy, what a great show.
Aren't they the best?
Oh my gosh, they were so great. And I'll add them to the list of people who have crashed at my house, who have been guests in my home.
Oh, I'm so glad. I hadn't talked to Nicky about it, but I'm so glad they did.
Yeah, and I think Nicky and Dylan CV are going to do one of these chats with me at some point if we have another go round, and I think after today we probably will. But I had a blast with the Minks, and thank you for turning me on to them.
Oh, well, thank you for turning other people on to them. I mean, I've been a fan since the first time I saw them, and more so the more I get to be around them.
Yeah, and I did not know until they were about to go on stage that night in our room that Nicky is from New Oxford, which is half an hour from here.
Is that right? I knew.
Yeah, her mom was there.
I didn't realize it was that close.
Yeah, it's real close by. So it was really fun. We had that local connection, and I think somebody else was from nearby too, maybe near Philly. Justin, I think. So yeah, that was really, really fun. So I want to talk a little bit about live streams. Have you played any yet since this whole isolation thing started?
I have not played any yet, but I've watched a bunch of them, and I've been really enjoying them.
Tell me about some favorites you've seen so far.
Well, I watched a great one by Cordova's the other night.
Oh yeah.
They've got a nice setup. They've been doing it for long before, they were doing it pretty regularly long before this. So they were pretty dialed in, and that's always a great one. I think they've been doing them, I think they've done two since sort of quarantine action. John Latham is always a great one. I watched one with Chuck Mead yesterday. That was just awesome. Who else? Tim Easton is another one I've seen. Watched some of the Luck reunion thing the other night.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
I mean, it's kind of, this is a difficult situation, and nobody, thinks otherwise. But, if there's one good thing to come out of it, you get a lot of music in your house, and it's, it takes you out of it, and it helps me, and it helps me feel better, and it's just fun. It's fun. Yeah. John Latham's been doing what he calls the quarantine jukebox, I think, the last few nights, and people just request, because he's such an encyclopedia of music that people can throw anything at him. And I try to pick the most random things I can think of. He'll always know at least half of it.
That's amazing. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm going to have to check that out. I almost feel like I can't keep up with all of them.
It's no mean feat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really fun, especially the ones that are doing it on platforms where they have a chat and we can kind of interact with each other while we're listening. And I've really been having a blast with it. On the Cable House Presents Facebook page, we're posting at least one a day recommendations, or if we do more, we make sure they're staggered, like 7 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever. But people who have played Cable House live stream so that our audience can tune into them. So I'm going to keep an eye out, and if I see that you're doing one, I'm going to be sure to post it on there.
Well, we're definitely going to do some. They're, like I said, they look like a lot of fun. I've been taking the time to get a lot of work done and kind of, cross some things off the list. And as soon as I do, I'll get out there, play y'all some music.
That's good. In the meantime, I'm glad to hear you're enjoying other people's, and I'm definitely going to check out the John Latham one. I think he's wonderful.
Oh, he's brilliant.
All right, what else? So you've talked a little bit about what you're working on. Tell me about some of the ways you guys are passing the time that's not music related. What else are y'all up to with the kids?
Oh, what have we been doing? We've been trying to take some walks. Oh, we got some puppies a little while ago.
Puppies.
Right before this happened, a friend of ours who works with this organization, Safe Paw, here in town, who helps out, with homeless outreach, but also with the animals of, like the pets of homeless people and stuff. And so she's just an angel. Her name's Lori Green. And anyway, she had found, or rather one of the people she works with had found these puppies in a dumpster. And she had posted a picture of them, and Sally commented, and we were going to take one. And then she brought these 3 puppies over, and both of the kids fell in love. And we didn't take all 3, but we did take 2 of them. And so now we've got these 2 little puppies around that have made, certainly make it a lot more fun. Now you can certainly pass the time chasing them around. And so that was a lucky thing that we got them before this happened. And, there's been a lot of, everyone's a little confused, especially the kids, but we're really making the most of it, trying to laugh. And, we watch movies, and we play games, and we do, we started our little family band, and we just try to pass the time. They've got lots of questions about, not just about this, but I mean, literally about everything. So
I bet
they have no trouble, they have no trouble staying engaged.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's been a long time since I had any of that little. My son is about to turn 20. Yeah, he's still delivering pizzas, contactless food delivery through all of this. He's staying at my parents' house, though, because he flew home from spring break last Friday, and I've got bronchitis, and he's scared of getting me sick, so he didn't want to come around. But he's been FaceTiming me a lot. So if this had to happen, it's happening in an era where we have this kind of technology that we can connect with each other.
It really is a blessing to have. My mother is, my mother's getting on in years and has health issues. And so we've just, out of being careful, not gone to see her yet. And, but we've been keeping in touch every day, and she's doing fine. But that's the downside of it, is you don't get to see your families, that are right down the road.
And your mom's in Texas?
No, not anymore. She moved here a few years ago, and to be closer to the kids and stuff.
Wonderful.
And oh God, it's so good to have them around. And my brother's here too.
Wonderful. So you're all there.
We're all there, but none of us can hang out right now.
Sure. Well, hopefully this won't go on too much longer. So I was going to ask you to talk a little bit about Cafe Rooster Records, but I sort of think that's going to lead us into this ending question, which is to say, what do you want people to know about how to support you and what's important to you during this time? Where can they find more information about the things you're working on? All of that. What's the spiel you can lay on?
I think the best way to find out about all that stuff is probably caferoosterrecords.com. The best way to support is you can go there. We launched a Patreon site the other day, putting up all kinds of cool, we had been planning on doing it anyway, but we're putting up all kinds of cool, rare stuff by all of our artists. And the intention, especially during this time, is to have people, give people some cool stuff that they might not be able to get otherwise, and to raise some money to split amongst our artists
wonderful.
Who are kind of holed up and can't tour, and their bread and butter's sort of been taken away. So we're finding interesting things. Nicky, that you mentioned from the Minks, is making clothes, and Matthew Page from Blackfoot Gypsies has is making hats and things. You can always visit, follow all of them. Blackfoot Gypsies, John Latham, the Minks, Ladies Gun Club, myself. You can follow all of our social medias, but it's all kind of centralized at CafeRoosterRecords.com. We're doing our best to keep everyone active and trying to generate a little bit of revenue so people can pay the rent and such while they're locked up.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear you're doing that, and I'm going to check out the Patreon page too. I think that's such a great platform.
Well, I do too, and I'm glad we started one, because now I've got a place to put all this crazy stuff that I've made. I'm going back through old hard drives and stuff and just finding live shows and all these, just mountains of songs and ideas and things and videos that I had forgotten about. And so I think it's going to be really fun to just have a place to put a lot of that stuff.
Very cool. One of the things I follow on that platform is the Working Songwriter, Joe Pug's podcast.
I love Joe.
I feel like it's like what does he call it? A voluntary subscription, send a couple bucks a month to help keep it going. And that's my favorite podcast. Are you into podcasts at all? Is there anything you listen to regularly?
I listen to a lot of them. I love Joe's a lot. What's some of the ones that Rick Rubin one and Malcolm
Gladwell.
Yeah, the Broken Record one. I love that one. There's so much cool stuff. The one with Andre 3000 and Rick Rubin just blew my mind. So many good ones. What are some other ones that I like? But yeah, I do like podcasts. I think they're great. It's a nice way to hear about some interesting stuff. I listen to weird ones like about cults and things too. Interesting.
Podcast came up in my conversation earlier with Zach Schmidt, and I hadn't thought to ask about them, but now I'm starting to, because it's nice to get all these different recommendations. One last question along those lines: what are you reading much?
I am. I've been I've got a bunch of books for my like around Christmas and my birthday, which was in December, and I hadn't had time to get into them, and so I'm just kind of getting there. I'm trying. What is the one that I've forgotten the title. I feel so bad, but my friend Duffy Schmidt sent me this great book that I've forgotten the title of. It's by, the author is William Kotzwinkle. You ever heard of that?
No.
Oh, he's brilliant. And he was like kind of around, I think it was more like late 60s and 70s, kind of around the Vonnegut era and things like that. Or Vonnegut's been around longer. But anyway, it's very much in that style. It's kind of absurd and weird. And it made perfect sense that Stuffy gave it to me, because he's such a character. It's a really good book. And I wish I could remember the title of it right now. I'll put it up later.
That would be great. Yeah, I'm hoping I have somebody who's pulling these videos so that I can post them on the Cable House Presents Facebook page and add links and things like that to them.
I'm going to carry you over here, because I feel stupid that I don't remember. The Fan Man. Yeah, The Fan Man.
Fan Man.
Yeah, this. The Fan Man.
So that's on your to-read list, right?
Well, I'm in the middle of it right now. It's not a very big book, but yeah, I've been kind of sitting with it at night. And one book that you should definitely read is called Band Life by Matthew Page from the Blackfoot Gypsies. He wrote
a book.
He wrote a book about, it's kind of, he's an Eagle Scout, and he wrote kind of this way to be prepared, like just tips for somebody starting a band or already in a band, just like travel tips, what to eat, what to do, don't buy a shitty van, all these just helpful things. And I actually recorded him reading it, and I've a little bit, but he's gonna have an audio book soon. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's called Band Life, and you can get it through his social media. Go find him there. He's had it up on Amazon, and he's had it, it's around. And he was selling at shows and things, but that's a good recommendation. I would like to book Blackfoot Gypsies at some point, so hopefully there'll be a future Cable House guest. Oh, should. Yeah, they would love it, and I know your audience would love it too. Yeah, I just finished reading. I don't know this. It's backwards on Instagram. My son got me this for Christmas. It's a biography about Jim Henson by a guy named Brian J. Jones,
it was so wonderful and so unexpectedly validating, because Jim Henson's whole life was his work.
Right.
And you know, it made me not feel bad that my whole life is my work.
I know. I can relate.
It's like Scott from Club 603 just joined here. Hello, Scott.
Hey Scott.
I should probably do one of these with Scott too and find out what he's listening to.
You probably should. Yeah, that's a great thing about this, is I forget to listen. You know, like, you forget all the things people tell you. I've also been listening to stuff that people have sent me that I just hadn't had time to get to.
Yeah.
There's a guy out of, I think it's out of either Michigan. I think it's Michigan. A guy named Actual Wolf. He goes by the name Actual Wolf. He's great. And he sent me his record a while back, and I've been dying to get to it. And it's great. It's awesome. I don't think it's out yet, but check out
I've been seeing his name pop up on these chats today. I think he's been listening in, so I hope I get to hear that at some point too.
Great dude, great writer, beautiful voice.
I love all of those things.
Yeah, I know you do.
So before we wrap it up, is there anything else you want to share or you want people listening to know?
I just hope everybody's healthy and trying to do the best they can to pass the time and not get too down about it. It's an incredibly weird situation. It's unprecedented, and everyone that I've spoken to seems to have a pretty positive attitude about it, and I think that's really the only way you can approach it, because otherwise it'll just eat you alive. So I like all the stuff that, like what you're doing, and engaging with people online is a great way to do it, and listening to music and celebrating art and spreading the good word of positive things, probably the best thing we can do right now. So I hope that you'll continue to do that and stay healthy and love on each other best you can, and love on each other at a safe distance.
Yes, very well said. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for talking to me from your studio. And if anybody wants to join in, starting at 4:00 Eastern, right on the hour, I'm going to be talking to Daniel Jackson and Krista. They're in Houston, Texas, so we gave them one of the later time slots. But I'm looking forward to that. These conversations have been so much fun. It's been really nice to catch up with you all.
You're so easy to talk to, and always have been. So you're the perfect person for the job. But I've enjoyed them too, and I'll be tuning in for that one and for Al Scrow later. I like to hear what he's up to.
I'm looking forward to hearing what he's up to as well. Thank you so much, Brian, and I'll see the rest of you at 4 p.m.
All right, thanks, JJ. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.